Good morning, students. I wonder whether you can hear me now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, today we are going to discuss your own attempts in writing or suggesting titles. And with this, I thank all students who participated in this assignment. This means that most students are serious and they are practicing actually what we discussed in previous lecture. Of course, we said earlier that this course is practical. Unless students practice, try, he cannot learn. So beginning with the assignments, I believe here, as you see, I wonder you can see now how many students who participate. We have 107 students who participated, and still we have 57 students who didn't send the assignment. If we consider those students who did not participate, you should know that each participation has a definite mark. There is a mark for daily participation. For students who did not participate, it means they lost a mark. So for the coming lectures, if we have assignment, please participate. Do not lose your chance to participate. Well, let us begin with the first participant. We have Ayat Adil Kadhim. Ayat?
Yes,
Ayat.
Dr. Ayat.
Okay. Well, this is your attempt. As you, I believe that you can see it on the screen. Can you see it, Ayat?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
This, let me say, trial is a little bit different because we have questions rather than just to have titles. You know, with titles, we don't have questions. It's just to be given as a statement rather than to be as a question. You see, I mean, here, your way of doing your own attempt by having questions. So we do not need questions, although it increases some sort of, let me say, search, because we are going to identify, or we are going to answer these questions in the research, but it is better just to have a statement rather than a question. Okay, Aya? So instead of having questions, we need a statement, a statement. Got it, Aya?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Dr.
Now let us discuss the way that you did. Okay, and let us see, do you have a general title and then you narrow it? You began with what are the elements of romantic poetry. So here, if we are going to see, okay, romantic poetry is a general, let me say, title, and then you are going to narrow it. But here, if we move to the second point, what are the themes of Romanticism? And then the main features of 19th century poetry, and then nature in romantic poetry, and then what are the two main themes of romances? Okay, and then what are the most famous American romantic poets? And then what are the characteristics of romantic poetry? Here, if we want just to say something about your trial, you don't have a fixed idea. You don't have a fixed idea. You don't have one idea. You have different ideas.
Yes.
But what do we need?
Yes.
One idea. You see, how many ideas? Romantic poetry, this is one. Romanticism is a philosophy. So we have something different here. You are not beginning from something general to something specific, but you are having two different things. So we cannot here. You have to know that you are going to derive. You know, derive. Derive, it means that you are going to take from something which is too general, too broad, and then you are going to limit it. But here we don't have limitation. What do we have? Two different things. And then you are going to say here, what are the features? Now you have you see features, then themes. So themes are and features are different. Themes, we are talking about here topics, or let me say the general ideas of romanticism. And then you have to know that there is a difference between romantic poetry and romanticism. What are the differences here? Romantic poetry is a trend or a type of poetry. Okay, just like we have metaphysical poetry, Victorian poetry. But here, when you say romanticism is a philosophical view of writing poetry. It is not a stage of poetry. This is one. Second, then you move to something, okay, which is different. Then first you said themes, and then you said features.
That means I have.
Yeah.
That means I have a false step.
Well, it's not something false. I'm not. By the way, here I'm not saying that you are wrong, but here you have to know that you are dealing with different ideas. We need one idea to be general and
Yes.
then to specify it. But here you have different ideas. They are not similar. We need the idea, the general idea that you begin with is similar to the ideas that are related to it, but it is not different from. Got the point now? So here, the procedure or the way that we are going to deal, we choose something general and then to specify it, but we are not dealing with something different. So here, if you check,
That means I
yeah,
express a one point.
it's not wrong point. Here you express different ideas. We need one idea. Let us make it simple to you. It's just like when you choose a title for a composition. Of course, you wrote a composition in first year, second year. You cannot have different titles. It is one title, one idea. Here, if you check, you have different ideas. You have romantic poetry, which is different from romanticism. And then you have themes, which is different from features. And then you see, you jump from general to specific here, and then you move to general once again. You see here, you have the main features of 19th century. Now, then you said nature in romantic poetry. Okay, romantic poetry of the 19th century or in general, we don't know. So here, if it is the main features of 19th century poetry, you can change it or correct it in the way that you say nature in the 19th, or let me say the theme of nature, okay, in the 19th century poetry, romantic poetry. In this case, you specify. But here, if you write nature romantic poetry, it is general. But if you say the theme of nature in the 19th century romantic poetry, it will be better. Okay, Aya, or not? Just tell me. Is it okay or not? Okay. So with the specification we add, we collect. We are not going to write something very limited. Okay. Here, I mean, you have to use more words. Words. Okay, to make it bigger. It's just like, as I said. Okay. The theme of nature. You see, the theme of nature in the 19th century romantic poetry. In this case, it will be limited. And then you mention here numbers. You say 5 themes, and then you say two main themes. So you mean two main themes of the 5. You are going to choose 2. So if here instead of mentioning numbers, you have to decide what are the 2 main themes. For example, nature, and for example, love. For example, okay. You say here you have to identify what are these 2 themes. Name them. Write the name, just like when you say nature. Nature is a theme. Okay, so name it instead of saying numbers. Okay, and then you see now you say American romantic poetry. Okay, which is different from the other things that you mentioned. So if you want just to limit, okay, so the 19th century romantic poetry, you may say the American 19th century romantic poetry, if you want just to specify. Clear, Aya, or not? Just tell me.
Clear, Doctor. I should.
Here, no. By the way, it is good for you, and this is a good attempt. I'm not saying that these are wrong, but you see now, this is.
Yeah.
This
I
is the
should
aim
to be
behind,
more confused.
yeah, and in this case, I think everything will be clear, because this is the aim behind this lecture. This lecture will be totally devoted for your own attempts. I'm here to discuss it, to correct it, to explain it, because here this will help you next year if you want just to decide the title. Here, if you are having different ideas, and by the way, the first step in writing a research to decide the title. If the title is confused, you are not going to work in the following steps in writing a research. I'm telling you for the coming year, by the way. If you are going to start with this, you cannot have a single title. Here, these things will be different titles, not one title. So in this case, you have to be more specific and to decide one single idea. Once it is to be decided, you can work for the following steps in writing a research. But in these, let me say, suggested titles, no, you are going to be confused, and you are not going to, select the resources according to these different topics. Here, these will be different researches, not one research. Is that okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let us see another, let me say, trial. Let us see Asawar. And by the way, I'm going to select, you see, randomly. I'm not going to follow, let me say, a system in selecting. I may select randomly without deciding who is going to participate. Now we have Asawar. Asawar, are you available here? Asawar. Okay, Asawar is not available. Let us discuss what do we have here. Here, I believe that there is some sort of explanation. I believe that you can see here this trial. Is it okay for you to see, students? Can you see her trial?
Yes,
here?
Doctor, we see.
You can see here. What do we have? Yes, here you can see here we have. Here, what do we have? We have explanation. We don't have titles. I told you just to write a title only, not an explanation here, just like introduction or something related maybe to grammar, and this is wrong. What we need is only title. Here we have verb, future perfect, continuous, verb tense, and then we have explanation. No, this is not required what is required is just to have a general title and then to limit it. Let us see another attempt. We
دكتور
have
بلا زحمة.
yes please.
أساور كتبت لي وقالت إنه النت ضعيف كل شيء يمها دا يخرج وحتى من تفتح
Anyway,
الصوت يعني
anyway,
النت
it's okay. But we discussed her trial, and it's okay.
Okay,
And
thank you.
as I told you earlier, that the lecture is recorded. Also, she can see these things, and she can recognize her own mistakes. Then we have Asil Majid.
Yes, doctor.
Asil,
Yes, doctor.
you can see your trial here.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, here it's a good attempt for you because you followed the correct way to limit. You chose first English literature, and then you may say English poetry, not poetry, because here when you say poetry in general, you may be not understood, because poetry is something general, maybe Arabic poetry, maybe German poetry. Okay, again you may say English poetry. Okay, and then what do we have? We have here lyric poetry, not poetry lyric. See, lyric poetry.
Yes, doctor.
Lyric poetry. You wrote poetry lyric? No. Lyric poetry. You see, lyric is the adjective, so the adjective should be before the noun. Then you have sonnets. So you are going to see here we have one type of lyric poetry, that is sonnets. Okay, you may say here, Asil, sonnets, a sample of lyric poetry, because sonnet, when you chose sonnet, okay, it is not to be understood by the reader. What is sonnet? You may say sonnet, then you have colon, a sample of lyric poetry. Okay, and then you may say,
Yes,
okay, Shakespearean sonnet, it's okay, and then sonnet 18 from Shakespearean sonnet, right?
yes, doctor.
Okay, but here, even with this, still it is general, because you study sonnet. We have so many things with the sonnet itself. Are you dealing with the general, let me say, idea about this sonnet, or you dealing with the devices? You know, we have images, we have metaphor, simile, for example, all these things. So I suggest you are going to say, okay, poetic images. You see, now this is the final title. Poetic images in Shakespearean 18, sonnet 18. You see, in this case, it will be accepted. Is it okay, Asil, or not? Just tell me, Asil.
Okay, doctor.
You may say poetry, because here you say sonnet by itself. What to study? What you are going to discuss in sonnet? You have to limit your study. Okay, you are going to say, for example, poetic images in Shakespearean sonnet 18. In this, it will be accepted. Is that okay?
Okay, doctor.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let us see another trial. We have Sarah Abdul Karim. Sarah?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, let us see Sarah. Sarah Abdul Karim Jaz. Okay, you can see your trial now, Sarah?
Yes, doctor, with you.
Okay, English linguistics, English phonetics, articulatory phonetics, the voice and voiceless sound. And by the way, Sarah, why not just to say consonant sounds? Why to say voiced and voiceless? Why not just say consonant sound? Consonant sound. Okay, because here, when you say consonant, it will contain or it will include voice and voiceless. And by the way,
Yes,
voiced with ed. Okay, not voice. Voiced. Voiced.
Yes,
Voiced and voiceless sound. Okay, it's a good attempt. It's okay just to begin with a general title that is English linguistics, and from this you are taking here. By the way, do you know the difference between phonetics and phonology?
phonetics for
Phonetics,
phone.
when you are talking
phone.
about the study of language in general, in any language.
Yes, yes.
You got the point now? So it is wrong to say English phonetics, English phonology, because phonology is the study of sounds in a specific language. Phonetics by itself, if you are going to talk about phonetics by itself, it is the study of language in general, not in a specific language. But you chose English. If you chose English, you are going to say English phonology, because phonology is the study of sounds in a specific language. Is that okay?
Okay, okay.
English phonology. Okay, so when you are talking about this, okay, so you have to delete articulatory phonetics because this is related to phonetics in general. And then you are going to say English consonant sounds.
Okay.
And then you are going to say voiced consonant sounds. Okay, English voiced consonant sounds. Okay, and then still, because here when you are going to study voice consonant, do you know how many they are?
Yeah.
They are not only 2 or 3. So you have to identify what are the sounds that you are going to study and what's wrong with them. And by the way, you remember when we are talking about facts and opinions, okay? You remember in the previous lecture, okay? So when you are going to discuss voice consonant sounds, okay, what's wrong with them? You are not going to add something because this is a fact. We have consonant sounds in English. Okay, what you are going to do in your research, but you are going to have something which is to be discussed or researched is about, for example, EFL learners. Okay, okay, producing, or let me say pronouncing, okay, the difficulties, for example, the difficulties of EFL learners in pronouncing, okay, voiced or voiceless, if you consider the difficulties, because here, for example, Arab students, they find difficulties in pronouncing voiceless sounds, just like p, and they are confusing between p and b. You know these things. Arab students, because p sound is not found in Arab language. Okay, so here you may discuss, and this will be very important, because when you are dealing with voiced or even voiceless sounds, okay, you cannot add something in your research, but you can limit it to the difficulties of EFL learners in pronouncing voiceless consonant sound. What do you think of this title?
Yes, it's good.
Yeah.
I faced some problem in putting my the last title and and a big title because I
This
don't
is
have the background about it.
what I need you just to think that there must be a problem to discuss in your research. You are
Yes,
not
yes.
going to deal with something, let me say, which is a fact. What you are going to add? Nothing. But when you are going to decide that there is something you are going to research about, there
Yes.
is there
And this
is
is
there is
the
a
first
problem
time
to
we
discuss.
write these titles. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the way. This is the way, and this is the way for all students. It is not specifically for you, by the way. When we are
Yes.
discussing each attempt, it means that other students can learn about it. It doesn't mean that it is specifically for you. I mean, here we have how many attempts? 107 attempts. It is
Yes,
impossible to
yes.
discuss them all this lecture. It means
We
that
learn
we are
from
going
it.
to select,
Yes.
and with this selection, students can learn from
Yes,
your
yes.
trial and other trials. Is that okay?
Okay. Doctor, can just put the title in a statement, not a question?
Yes, because the title should be a statement. So here, if you check any research title, we don't have questions. We
Yes.
have what? We have
Uh,
statement. Yes.
Doctor, all these titles in the first paper from the general topic to the and
Yeah,
narrowing
yeah, yeah,
down
yeah, 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 yeah. Because yeah,
in
this is the
all
first
the
step.
researches.
By the way, sir, here our assignment today is the first step. Still, here we are not having something to be written more. It's only suggesting title because this is the first point to write a research. Unless you have a definite idea in your mind, you cannot write. What you are going to write about if you don't have an idea. Here we have to decide the idea first, and the idea should be clear, as I did now when I clarify the ideas that are discussed. Then we are going to move to the other, let me say, steps.
Yes, yes, doctor.
Is that
Thank
okay?
you. It's clear. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thanks
it's
a lot. Let us see another trial.
دكتور
Yes, please.
دكتور بس أنا ما سويت عنوان مثل ما سووا الطلاب، سويت تقرير كامل. عاد أدزه مرة ثانية؟
Uh, what's your name?
زهراء فاضل.
Zahra. Here when we are talking about the assignments, you have to understand first what is required. Why didn't you ask me here in the class stream? Why not just to ask me in the comments before doing these things? Of course, when we are talking about this, it is not only you, Zahra. Many students did this because they did not understand what is required. So
Yes, doctor.
for the coming lectures, if we have assignments, ask me if you don't know. And
Yes,
by the
doctor.
way, Zahra, I gave a week, a week. It is not only one day. I gave you a good time to have a chance to ask me. Some students asked me and I answered them within the week, the previous days, I mean. Okay, and they did it.
Yes, doctor.
So in order not just to lose marks about things that is required, okay, for the coming lectures, ask me if things are not clear. This is one. Second, do not forget that the lecture is recorded. What does it mean? If you are not having, let me say, an idea about what is required, why not just to listen to the lecture once again and to see what is required? The lecture is available and you can listen to the lecture so many times. Okay, if and it is, by the way, it is uploaded. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you are going to wait for the net to listen. No, it will be available and you can download it and to listen to it the time you wish. Is that okay, Zahra?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
doctor.
doctor. Yes, doctor.
Okay. Now let us see Salim. Salim Hamid. Salim
Yes,
Hamid.
doctor, I'm available.
Okay. Okay, English poetry, English romantic poetry, English romantic poems, the period of English romantic poetry. Okay, let us discuss this. Okay, you chose a general title that is English poetry. It's okay. And then you limited to English romantic poetry. It's okay. Then English romantic poems. Okay. Here, why not just to decide?
Yes.
Why not just to decide the poem by having the third step? Okay. Why not just to say a poem by Wordsworth, for example? Okay. And then to decide the title of it, and then you can consider it as a sample of romantic poems instead of saying English romantic poem. This is one. The time period of English romantic. What do you mean by the time period?
الفترة الزمنية.
No, it's you mean the stages, or the era, the stages. Well,
Yes, yes,
I believe,
yes. The stage, the stage which the poem.
Yeah. I believe instead of saying the period, it is romantic poetry is a period. By the way, it is by itself. It is by itself without saying these things, without having the period or the time period. No, you are going to
Okay.
identify it by saying by itself here. Romantic poetry is a stage. It's a period.
Okay.
So here, instead of this, you may select a single poem by a poet, for example, Wordsworth. Okay, and then you suggest one poem. What is it? And then with this, by the way, it's not only the discussion of the poem itself. You may choose the theme. You may choose the poetic devices, okay, that are found, the images, okay.
Okay, that's important point. I have to when I choose the poems, I must choose a type of or one type from these poems. So I was wrong from this point.
So in this case, you may delete the last let me say title, because here you may write from the beginning, for example, English, for example, 16th century romantic poetry, just like this. Okay, decided from the beginning, and then to select the poem, a single poem, and then you may, again, with the selection of the single poem, you have to decide what to study in this poem. Is that the images or the theme or any other things that you are going to study? Because here, when you are going to write a research, you have to have different opinions by different critics of the single poem that you are going to decide. And in this case, you are going to select what you are going to study in a single poem. Is that okay, Salim?
Okay, doctor. Thanks for
implementation. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
By the way, I'm here behind the title itself. I'm here behind the title. You may see that I'm not specialized in certain field, okay, but here I'm thinking of the idea itself. Here, when we are talking about literature or linguistics, of course, each field has its own, let me say, basics, okay? So later on, when you are going to be in the fourth year, of course, you are going to be guided by the supervisor, and the supervisor will be specialized in certain field. And of course, when you are going to choose literature, the teacher will be responsible for guiding you helping you for what? For limiting your title. But here,
Yes, yes.
what we are doing just now is just to what? It's just to think of the idea itself rather than the details of the field itself. Keep this in your mind. Let us see another trial. Zainab Amir Jawad. Zainab Amir Jawad. She is not available. Let us see here. The genre Renaissance in early modern English literature and theology. Students' perspective on the benefits of EFL literature education. The drama. You see, I hear you may see with me, because here the students is not available, different titles. We don't have one title. Can you see it, students?
Yes,
Here we
Doctor.
have different titles in different fields. We have literature, we have methodology, we have here something which is related to methodology and literature. So we need one title rather than different titles. Here, speech acts and clause types, English in a cross-linguistic context. I believe that these are ready-made titles. These does not, I mean here, this attempt does not show that the students is trying. I believe that these are ready-made titles and the students is copying them from different researches. This is what I suppose. I don't know. Rana Aqil Jasim. Rana Aqil.
Yes, Doctor.
Rana. Okay, let us see your try, Rana. Speaking skills. Rana, do you think that this is a title or an explanation here? Rana Aqid. Rana, can you see your attempt?
Yes,
Can
I
you see your attempt? Your attempt is now on screen.
Yes, I see.
Yes. Do you think that it is a title or an explanation here? Speaking skills. By the way, do we have speaking skills or speaking skill? Is it plural or singular?
Skill.
Skill. Skill,
Yes.
not skills. Yes.
Skill.
Then you are sorry.
Skill.
Yeah, it is a skill.
Yes.
Speaking skill. Introduction. Speaking skills. What are to be before speaking? Speaking skills. No, here, Rana. When you decide these things, these are not titles. These are sections inside the research, and this is not required. What you are doing here is just like writing sections. You know, sections. These sections will be inside the research when you begin writing a research. Okay, so it's wrong just to write these things in this first step. We need only title. It's not sections within the title itself. These are sections inside a research itself, and this is what we call an advanced step. This is not the time for writing sections within the title itself. And here with the speaking skill? What's wrong with the speaking skill? And what speaking skill in which language? Speaking skill in general, because here these skills are found in any language. It's not specified for one language. We have once we have a language, we have skills. We have speaking skill for Arabic, speaking skill for French, speaking skill for German. All these things will be included. So are you dealing with all these things? So I believe that things that you wrote is not following what is required. What is required just to suggest a general title and to limit it. Is that okay, Rana?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay. Ruqayya Muhammad. Ruqayya Muhammad Shakir. Ruqayya Muhammad Shakir. I don't know, some students are not available today. I don't know what's wrong with these things. I suppose that some students wrote their names in the form and they are not attending the lecture, and this is wrong, by the way. What we need is just to have your name in the list, okay, and to be present in the lecture itself. It doesn't mean that you are going to write your name here. I have 133 students, okay, but you see, it seems that some students are not available.
Yes.
And this is wrong. Well, let us see, the trial for Ruqayya, and let us see what we have. English literature, drama, the main types of drama, comedy, tragedy. Still they are general. English literature, it's okay. And then English drama. And then the main types of English drama. Okay. Okay, we say comedy and tragedy. It's okay. And then still they are general. We have to choose one of them. We cannot tackle these two in one research. And even with this, we have to choose one play, for example, as a sample for comedy or as a sample for a tragedy. And then when we are going to choose, and we are going to say, for example, the tragedy of Shakespearean Hamlet. In this case, you can write a research, but these titles are still general. They are not just to be ready for writing a research. Now, Zubayda, Amir, Zubayda, Amir. Again, she is not available. The study of language, the 19th century historical linguistics, early to mid 20th century descriptive linguistics, mid to late century generative linguistic and the search for universal, then 20th century future trends. No, they are different ideas. They are not related, and they are not following the step. Just to have one something. Okay, we are saying the study of language, and then we are dealing to what? Historical linguistics, and then we are choosing the times. Okay, but with these things, if we consider still we need just what to decide what to have with this. Okay. 21st century future trends. What's wrong with them? So I believe that this will not following the strategy that we discussed earlier. Zahra Duraid?
نعم دكتور.
Okay.
I'm available.
English literature, English novel, early novels in English, romantic period, Victorian novel, 20th century, famous novelist, the most famous novel. Here, just like, I mean, you are reviewing different stages of the novel, English novel. No,
I
this is
explain
no.
all,
These are not titles, by the way. We need a title for a research, but you are having just like sections, you know, sections, okay,
yes,
sections in a book. These will be okay for a book to have different sections or different chapters. By the way, these things are to be written in a book, not a research. And I believe that when you check the other things, the other trials that I discussed, it will be okay for you to know what's wrong here, because you are having romantic period, and then we have Victorian novel, and then 20. Here you are mentioning them all. No, we need to specify one to start. Is that okay, Zahra?
yes,
Zahra.
doctor, understand. I explained all the stage of novel of English novel.
No. This is wrong, because
And
here
I add,
you have to specify one. You
okay.
cannot let me say cover all these things in a single research.
I remember all details. I add the famous novelist and the famous novels in the world.
Well,
So maybe it is wrong.
I told you earlier. Now these things cannot be covered in a single research. You have to specify your idea that you are going to discuss in your research. What is it? So here the selection will be related to a single, for example, novel by a single novelist, and with this you are going to choose within the novel what you are going to study, the themes, the characters, or things that you have in a single
Yes,
novel.
doctor, I see it and understand. I'll review it, and thank you so
No,
much.
it's okay. It's okay. By the way, I thank you for your own attempt. Once you understood what is required, that's it. It's okay. I'm not going to say that this is wrong and this is right, but we are discussing these things to help you for the future researches when you are going to do it next year.
Inshallah, doctor, inshallah. Thank you so much.
It's okay. Let us see. Shahid Ahmed.
Yes,
Shahid Ahmed, yes. English literature and Renaissance period.
just
Who were the English Renaissance playwrights? William Shakespeare plays, and then The Tragedy of King Lear by William Shakespeare. The character of okay, you chose, yeah, I know, but here I'm checking the suggested titles here.
Doctor, actually,
yeah,
just
tell me.
I know this is title should just statement. So this question.
Well, we mentioned this point, but what we need now is just to see, do we have some sort of limitation here it's okay to say English literature and Renaissance period. It's okay. I believe that the third, limitation should be deleted. You know why? Because here we are not dealing with a lecture. Here you are going to limit something you are going to discuss in your research. So here, it will be okay when you are going to present a lecture and you are going to have these points. But here we need a limitation. Okay. So the third and the fourth can be, coming together. Okay. Or can be come together and to have it in the fourth, let me say, or the fifth title. Okay.
This is a place
and then
this year.
and then you decide the character that you are going to study. So here you can join these three titles to be one. Okay. You may say
Doctor, how
yeah.
The Tragedy of King Lear by William Shakespeare, and after that, the character of Cordelia. This is research. I'm talking about character.
Yeah, you may say here some sort of as a sort of let me say modification. You may modify or correct these things by saying the analysis of the character, or the let me say the tragic development, okay, of this character in this let me say play. It's just like this, because here this will help you to join different, let me say, elements of the idea itself in one title, a single title, instead of having different titles. Because here, when we are talking about this process, here you are having an idea and elements of the idea and elements of the idea. Here, the character is an element of the idea itself, because you are going to analyze a character in the play. So what we are doing here, and here with the character itself, you are talking about the tragedy of this character. So here, this is another element. So you have to know that we have one idea, but we have elements of the idea. This is what I need to tell. So the elements can be combined, can be gathered, gathered to be in a single title.
Yeah. So
okay, a single. So the title can include different elements within a single idea. And this is what is the difference between different ideas and different elements in one idea. And this is what is required. Include different elements of one idea, but keep the idea one. Keep the idea single. This is what I mean. Is that okay, Shahid?
Yeah, doctor. But doctor, what difference between report and research? So in report, may I speaking about character of Cordelia?
I'm going to tell you. Here, when you are writing a report, you are going to gather different opinions by different critics who wrote about this play, specifically for this character. But in the research, you are going to write your own opinion. Opinion. You are going to have something new. Okay. In a report, you are going to gather different opinions and to present it, and that's it. This is in a report. But what you are going to do in the research? No, you are going to write your own opinion as something which is, let me say, as an achievement of your research. This is your finding. This is what you are going to create in your research. And your opinion should be supported by what? By things that you are going to research, okay? Or you may argue, or you may have something which is what? Which is to be related to a school of criticism. And then you are going to say, I follow this school, and then depending on this school of criticism, I'm doing my own opinion. This is okay. So this is what is what is to be presented in your research. This is one. Second, when you are dealing with this, you are going to deal with something that you are going to convince the reader. By the way, the point of writing a research is, it is not just to be written and that's it. Once I'm going to read your research, I have to be persuaded by your own opinion. So this is very important. So it is not only just to write your opinion, but you have to persuade your reader or to convince your reader of your own opinion. And this is your mission. This is your duty in writing a research.
Yes,
Is that
Dr.
okay?
Yes, may I ask a question?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. Can I make a research about the tragedy of King Lear by William Shakespeare and all? I'm talking about all. This is a play, not one character. All theme and character and summary and everything.
I believe you cannot cover all these things. You have to know that when you are going to write something else, more specifically in literature, you are going to be lost when you are going to cover different things. This is one. Second, you do not forget that you are going to collect different resources, and different resources will contain different philosophies, different opinions, different ideas, different views. How can you cover them all?
But doctor, when we are in last year,
Yeah.
so we are made a report in
Reports, yes. With the report you can cover them because you are presenting these things. Okay, presenting only. But how can you do it? How can you do it when you are going to write a research? In research writing, you have to present your own opinion as what, and this is your production. It's not only just to present the other opinions. No, you have to convince the reader of your opinion by the support of different, let me say, evidences. Of course, when you are going to say your opinion, you are going to have evidences for.
Yes.
By having the play that you are going to study, and by the analysis that you are going to make, because you are going to analyze yourself.
Yes, doctor.
This is the idea.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much.
Okay. I believe that it's okay with the let me say, your attempts, and now we are going to move to the book because we need just to discuss certain ideas that are found in chapter 2. And I believe that you have the book with you just now, and if we want just to let me say have chapter 2, which is related to what we are doing, choosing and narrowing a topic. I believe that what we did is closely related to to what is found in the book. But I'm going to tell you something about the book. Here, as I mentioned earlier in the previous lecture, that we are going to select certain things from the book. We are not going to cover it from cover to cover. This is one. Second, you may find something in the book which is not related to your specialization. Sarah, you raise your hand.
Yes, Doctor. I have a question about the title.
Yeah.
Each word in the title, should we write it in capital letter or just the important words?
Well, you have to write let me say, each word in a capital letter, okay?
Yes.
And this will be discussed later on when we are talking about the mechanism of writing, okay? These things will be discussed earlier, but here, I mean, we are behind the idea itself. How can we formulate the idea? Okay,
Yes.
we are going to discuss these things later on, but let us first of all understand and apply.
Yes.
Okay, it's not only just to understand and apply what we are having in chapter 2, that is choosing and narrowing a topic. So with this, let me say, point, when we say the book is having examples which is not related to your specialization, okay, it's only just what, to have an idea what is going on. You may understand the example, you may not,
Yes,
but here what we are doing is closely related to what is found in the examples of the book. So what I need you just to consider in the book here, in the first page of chapter 2, we have a technical term, that is thesis statement. This is very important. Here we have a definition, and this is what is required. Thesis statement is the main idea of your paper, the single encompassing assertion that you want your readers to accept after reading your paper. This is a definition. And what is meant by thesis statement? That is the idea that you are going to include, or the title itself. When we are talking about thesis statement, we are talking about the title. And what I need you just to consider here, the definition. This is one. Second, what do we have in the definition? Here we have main idea, and this is very important. It means that, as we discussed earlier, we have to discuss one idea, one single idea, not different ideas. Of course, the idea may contain different elements, and this is what I need to emphasize. The idea can be cut, if I say cut, you know, cut or divided into different elements, but still it is single. But do not mix up between different ideas and different elements. The idea can be cut or divided into different elements, that's okay, but you cannot include different ideas in one title, one thesis statement. Is that okay or not? Just tell me.
Yeah,
Yes,
Doctor.
yes,
Any question about this? Try to include one idea in your title, but this idea, as we discussed just now, okay, with Shahad, we have different elements. These elements are to be united, gathered in one single title. Okay,
Yes, Doctor.
but as to be compared, now we have Shahad and we have, if you remember, Ayah. You remember, compare between the two. You are going to see
Yes,
that
Doctor, we remember.
different ideas. Okay, but Shahad, no, it what? I mean, here the title, it included different elements in one single idea.
Yes,
Is that
Doctor.
okay? So this
Yes.
is what is to be what should be understood. Do not include different ideas. Keep your idea single, and you can divide it into different elements. And that's why here in the book we have this definition. You see, single You see the single, the encompassing assertion. Here we have the word assertion. What does it mean, assertion? You remember one student, I believe, asked me, is it okay just to have the title final, and then we go to the library, and then we may find something, let me say, different. Here, the assertion, what does it mean? That is the final title that you reach. What does it mean? It means that you can have tentative, you know the word tentative, title. Of course, I did my own title. Okay, we did it. Now we go to the library. We find that there are so many difficulties or things that we decide to study are not available. So what we are going to do, we are going to modify. We are going to, subject the title to what is found. Okay, so here the assertion, what does it mean here? We are going to reach the final title, and then we are going to work on our research. So the title may be tentative first, and then it will be what? It will be final once we are going to be sure that everything is okay. This is one. Second, you have to consider that when we are going to choose a title, sometimes the title that we choose is related to our interest. It's okay, but here our interest is not enough. You have to know that when you are going to write something, this will be read by others. So what does it mean? It is to be interested to you, it's okay, but it should be convincing to others. This is very important. So unless you find evidences, okay, to convince others of your own opinion, you cannot write a research. So do not think of you only. Of course, you are going to choose something which is interested to you, it's okay, but do you find resources that support your opinion when you are going to write a research? You have to think of this also. Is that okay? Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
Doctor, please.
So it is not only the interest, the way that you are going to persuade others, and that's why we say persuasive title. That is what the title that is to be read by others, and the others are persuaded by your own opinion. And that's why for the coming year, it is not just to write the research. You have to discuss it. Now, do you know why to discuss? To convince others. It is not okay. For all students who are writing a research, they must what? They must discuss it. You are not going to be given a mark for writing a research and that's it. You have to discuss it. You have to convince others. Is that okay? So here the problem of writing a research is not just to think of yourself only. Of course, interest is number one. We said that unless we are interested, we cannot choose a topic. It's okay. No one deny that you are going to what? You are going to choose what interests you. But find what convince others. It's not only let me say your opinion to be convincing. No, by the availability of the resources that support your opinion. This is the point. How to convince? By having evidences. Where to be found? In the resources that you are going to have. Where are the resources? In the here you are going to decide these things when you are going to have a selection, when you are going to go to the library and to select and to see and to check. And this is your let me say duty or role as a researcher. It's what, as we said in the previous lecture, It is a library work. This is a library work. This is, it's not something, I mean, too easy just to select any book that you have and then to start writing. No. And especially here when we are talking about literature, because literature contains so many opinions that are contradicting, or that they are not convincing, okay, and they are too personal, all these things. Is that okay?
Yes, doctor. Yes, it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, doctor, we understand.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Doctor,
yeah.
please. I have a
Yeah,
question.
yes. Yeah, tell me. Tell us.
Sorry for interrupt.
No,
About
it's okay.
my one of the main point that I put in my titles, it's a grammar, relations, psychological, and philosophical. So
Yeah.
these topics in general are arguments. So how can we deal with them?
Here, do not forget that there is a role for a supervisor. We know that the research is the researcher responsibility. It will be your own responsibility from A to Z. It's okay. But here, you need to be supervised. It is not to be left for you and that's it. Here, the role of the supervisor will exist. You may find something which is helping you to what? To find something as shared among these things. You may say that there is something contradictory. It's okay, but we don't have something which is totally different unless you find something shared. Shared. You cannot write a research. Of course, you cannot combine something which is totally contradictory. This is one. Second, sometimes when you find something contradictory, here you are going to decide your opinion. Here, your role will exist as a researcher to defend your opinion depending on the school you follow. What convinces you as a researcher?
So, doctor, there is sometimes
sorry?
There is sometimes theories, there is opinion, personal opinion, scientists.
Yeah. But here, when we are talking about sciences, by the way, psychology, linguistics, okay, here these opinions are based on what? They are not in the vacuum. They are not out of nothing. They are within what? Within philosophies and schools. Here, for example, in psychology, we have schools. When we have things that are related to behaviorism. Behaviorism? Okay, this is a school.
Yes.
Yes. Or Gestalt, okay? Holism, we call them. Which school that you believe, you are going to choose the opinions that suit this school.
Yes.
And when you are going to choose this according to what you believe, okay, you are going to select the opinions that support your opinion. This is one. Second, of course, when you believe in this school, there must be something convinces you. It's not only just to believe it. No, you have to find evidences that makes you believe in this. Of course, these are generalization if we say, but unless we are talking about something specific, we cannot have, let me say, an accurate idea about what is to be written in the research. So,
thank you.
Yeah, as I told you, there is a role of the supervisor, which facilitate these things for you to select what is let me say supposed to be selected, and then there must be some sort of discussion with the supervisor, some sort of let me say assistance. So here these things will be okay for you to write about a topic which is having different, let me say, branches in linguistics and in psychology. Is that
Thank
okay,
you.
Tabarak?
Thank you. It's clear very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now let us move to another point here. So here, as I told you, thesis statement, the definition is required in the book. Okay. We move to another technical terms. That is precise assertion. It is found on page 10. Page 10. Precise assertion. Can you see it in the book? Precise assertion.
Yes.
What does
Yes,
it mean?
yes, doctor.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Precise assertion. This term means the final title that you reach. Why to say precise? Precise means accurate. Accurate. Assertion means that here the final choice of the title itself. Assertion. That is what you or assertion decision. The final decision of the accurate title. So why to say these things? Because here, if you are asked in the exam, what's meant by precise assertion? That is the final form of the title to be decided as a research, and it is accurate and final. This is what is meant by precise assertion. Here we have a paragraph in the following page. That is page 11, the third paragraph. I'm going to read it, okay? And we are going to discuss something which is found in it. If you write such a thesis statement, you will arouse instant interest, of course, but you will also have difficulty persuading readers to believe much of what you have to say. This is what I'm saying earlier. Is that okay?
Yes.
I'm going to repeat.
Yes, doctor.
If you write such a thesis statement, you will arouse instant interest. This is what we said. Interest, your interest, of course, but you will also have difficulty persuading readers to believe much of what you have to say. In fact, many thesis statements bring neither instant acceptance or instant doubts. Here, in some cases, you see, and this will make some sort of failure in writing. Why some researchers failed, when I say failed, in reaching the aim of writing, that is, they are not having acceptance. If somebody is reading this research, he feels that it is unsatisfactory, it is unconvincing, okay? And what makes it more when the researcher is writing this research out of his interest. You see now, the writer is not interested, and there is no convincing, let me say, ideas that, or let me say, convincing evidences. It means that this research will be on failure, or it is not to be a good research. Then, usually, readers have not formed their own judgments about your topic, often because they are not familiar with it. They usually will be willing to accept your assertion after you presenting material to support it. And this is very important. You see now, your role as a researcher, okay, to make others, okay, have interest with what you are interested in. So this is your job, okay. from the
Yes.
beginning. Okay, when I read a research, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be interested in, but it is your role to increase the interest of the readers when you are having evidences, as we said, or having things that support your topic. Your goal in writing a thesis then is not to arouse doubts, but instead to narrow your topic and precisely define your stand on it, so that your paper will have a clear focus. Okay, this is very important. You know the word doubt? You know doubt? You know the word doubt.
Yes, yes.
Here, when we are talking about writing a research, the research should respond not to arouse the questions. If it is to be doubtful, okay, so it will be what? It will be shaky. It will be weak research. So here, if the research is definite, is focused, is precise, is accurate, it's united, it will be very good for the reader to understand it. Okay, but if it is of scattered ideas, if it is not united, if it is not accurate, it means that it is doubtful. I cannot have, let me say, a general view of the research as a whole if these things are found. If we don't have something definite to discuss in a research, I cannot recognize what is the researchers trying to say. So here, have your research accurate, have your research definite, have your research precise, have your research focused on certain topic, have your research limited, as we did in the narrowing topic. Here, the first step that we did today here helps so much to narrow, to focus, to make the research more accurate, rather than just to have something broad or general or scattered, or let me say something which is not definite, containing different ideas. This will make the reader lost and cannot understand the research as a whole. And in this case, it will be doubtful. Is that okay with this paragraph?
Yes.
Now,
Yes,
Yes,
coach.
yes, a question? Do we have a question? Okay. Choosing a topic for a thesis paper. Here we have at the end of this page, we have stages. Okay. What are the stages? What we are going to do? Choosing a general topic that interests you. We'll offer some practical tips about that. Do some quick preliminary reading. You know, preliminary, that is what? Something which is to be done as a quick. It's not just to be detailed reading. It's just checking to learn more about your topic and to see whether enough sources appear to be available. Here,
Doctor, understanding reading.
Here, what we call a survey. If we say a survey, you are going to have a quick reading. That is what checking the resources that you feel that is near to what your topic, or even nowadays we have the internet. You can check easily by writing your topic, your suggested topic in Google search, and you see, do we have something similar? Do we have something near to the topic? Here you are going to check rapidly, and you are going to see if it is okay to start with, or you are going to modify. while doing your preliminary reading and throughout your research, develop working thesis statement and continue to refine it. What does it mean? When you develop a title, okay, make it tentative, as we say, tentative, okay? And then within your reading, you are going to modify. You can change. You can add, and you may ask me that is it possible for us to modify the title, because here the strategy in our Department of English, the title will be suggested by the teacher. The teacher will decide the title. It is not you. Okay. Sometimes it is okay with the student to modify the title when there is a discussion between the student and the supervisor. The supervisor will listen to the students. If the students is doing the preliminary reading and finds some sort of difficulties, or the student needs just to modify the title, so it's okay if it is to be done with the discussion with the supervisor. Finally, we need just to what? To emphasize an idea which is found on page 12, the last paragraph. I want you just to follow what we have here in the last paragraph, page 12. Page 12, the last paragraph. Do not choose a topic that is too contemporary. Have you found it or not? Just tell me.
Yes.
Page
Yes,
12. Yeah.
Yes,
Do
doctor.
not choose a topic that is too contemporary. What does it mean? Too new. What does it mean new? It is just let me say created, or let me say it is just found. Okay. What is the reason? What is the reason? It means
Doctor,
that
maybe
here,
we
for
don't
example,
have enough resources.
this is the point. Very good.
It's not
If
provided by
you are going to choose, if you are going to choose something which is too new, you are not going to find the resources, because here you don't have history, history for this topic. If you are going to check the resources, you are not going to find. So try.
You don't have evidence.
Yeah, this is the idea, and this is very important. So here, the reason behind that, you are not going to find resources. Okay. I believe that the other points are not necessary for this chapter. Only on page 20, you have possible topics. Possible topics. Page 20.
Yes.
Possible topics. What do you mean by possible topics? The topics that you are going to have for your title. You may have tentative titles, maybe 3 or 4, and then these 3 or 4 will be one when you are going to check the resources and which is more accurate, which is more let me say helping for you, which is more focused. It will be what? It will be chosen. So here, what does it mean? It means that your title may be not 1 at the beginning, maybe 2 or 3, and then when you are going to decide the final form, it will be 1. So the tentative titles, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, and then when you check the resources, when you are going to discuss with your supervisor, you may decide one of them as final, and that's why we say we have possible topics. Possible topics. Is that okay?
Okay, doctor.
Yes.
Yes, doctor. It's clear.
Yes, doctor.
Now, with this, we finalize with chapter 2. As I told you that we are going to select, and these things will be required. Other things are not. Other things are to be left.
Yes.
When we discuss things from the book, I'm going to tell you what is to be required and what is to be not. Here,
Okay.
briefly speaking, in chapter 2, what do we have? We have, let me say, thesis statement. We have precise assertion, okay, and the paragraph which is found on page 11, the steps that we have, and then we have the last paragraph which is found on page 12, and the last thing that is the possible topics which is found on page 20. Is that okay? So
Okay.
for the coming lecture, we are going to have chapter 3, which is identifying sources.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Is that okay?
Okay.
With this, I
Okay,
am
doctor.
going to finalize the lecture unless you have questions for what is discussed. Is that okay? Is there any
Okay,
question?
doctor.
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.